Well, the life of a 98-year-old poet who lives in the West Village tells a story of perseverance, tenacity, and romance. EdwardField was rejected dozens of times before his first book was finally published.
Well, he sat down with PIX11's Michelle Ross and shares what it was like as a gay man in the military while experiencing anti-Semitism in his hometown.
It's not often anymore that someone comes on to me.
EdwardField reads excerpts from his poems at West Beth Artist Housing, an affordable housing complex for artists in the West Village. The 98-year-old was rejected 25 times before his first book was finally published in 1963.
All those rejections, suddenly I won a big prize, the Lamont Award for a first book, and I was in demand. I was traveling all over the country, giving readings.
He was born in Brooklyn and grew up in a musical family. They soon moved to Lynbrook on Long Island.
It was a terrible mistake because they didn't want Jews there.
Edward enlisted in the Army to get away and says he loved his time in the military. Based in England, his crew flew to Germany on bombing missions. One day, his plane was shot down, crashing into the North Sea.
The thing about fear, you go into battle, combat, and fear can turn into excitement.
Trying to stay alive on an inflatable raft, a British air sea rescue boat found them and saved them. And despite being a gay man in the military, Edward says he never faced discrimination. While in the Army, gay clubs in London were full of military personnel.
I learned everything I knew about the gay life in the military.
And it was on the way to joining the Army that made him fall in love with poetry when Red Cross workers gave out care packages.
Mine had a book in it. Everybody had a book, but mine had a book of poetry. And I read it the whole way across the country. And when I got off that train, I knew what I wanted to be for the first time.
Edward now has 12 published books. His husband, Neil, who passed 4 years ago, was a big inspiration to keep going. They were together for 58 years, and 10 years into the relationship, Neil became blind. What did he mean to you?
Oh, well, you'll get me crying. One of the great things was having to take care of someone, to be there all the time for everything. And everybody's seen stories of seeing eye dogs. When their master dies, they lie on the grave for the rest of their lives. Well, in a way, I'm doing that.
And although Edward doesn't write as much anymore, he still feels very lucky to live here at West Beth, a place that has fostered his artistry for decades. In the West Village, Michelle Ross, PIX11 News.
Well, coming up.